Hi, hi Renat, this is Dominique Joly. I'm happy to try to answer to your questions. So let's have a look. First question, what can you say about online teaching? Maybe the first point I would like to make is that um, online might not be the right wording. Why? Because online usually refers to a connection with a machine. Okay, so you interact with a computer. I prefer to say remote because when you say remote, for me, it seems that you interact not with a computer, but you interact with your professor. So that's my first comment about this question number one. And also, I would like to make another point. I mean, uh, when you talk about remote teaching, I think it makes a tremendous difference depending how many students you have in front of you. If you have a group of 10, let's say 15 students, I mean, you can see everyone on the screen. So it's possible really to interact, just as I mentioned. When you have a group of, let's say, 100, 200 students, okay, I mean, this is webcasting, okay? You don't know exactly if people are listening to you. It's like not like to be in an amphitheater. When you are in an amphitheater with 200 people, for sure you don't see all those guys accurately. But, I mean, you feel the atmosphere. I mean, when you are just in front of your camera, if you have 200 people looking at you, you don't know exactly. So that's for me, the most important thing when we talk about remote teaching. For me, the first question is how many students do we have connected? Okay, question number one. So question number two, does online learning help teachers? Yes, yes, the answer is yes. I mean, the problem is what? If you jump into remote teaching, as a professor, you have a lot of work to do. Why? Because the way you run a class with a computer, with a camera, the way you run your class is totally different from the way you run the class when you are in a physical classroom. Okay, so that's, for me, a strong incentive to rejuvenate your practice as a professor. So for me, for a professor, it's a good news. I mean, the pandemic is something horrible, okay? From a sociological point of view, it's terrible. From a relationship point of view, it's terrible. But for us, professors, since March 2020, we were forced to jump into the swimming pool. And in fact, almost 1 year after, I mean, we are quite happy because, once again, it's an opportunity for us to learn about something new, to rejuvenate our practices. Question number three, what are the advantages and disadvantages of remote teaching? I think you need to adapt as a professor. You need to adapt. It means that you need to diversify your pedagogical means much more than you do in a classroom. I mean, pedagogy is about changing the way you teach, okay? To have different methods, different ways to discuss, to introduce a concept. But, I mean, for sure, with remote learning, you need even more. You need more diversity. So you cannot speak during, I mean, as a professor, if you speak during 30 minutes, I mean, people are going to be fed up, even if you are a top professor. So that's one point. Another point is that when you go for remote, you have to do very short sequences, okay? Very short sequences. So let's say 5 minutes, you speak, okay? you talk, you give a speech. And then another 5 minutes, you raise a question and you ask the student to think about this. And then another 5 minutes where you teach again, okay, one way. And then another 5 minutes where you ask the student to go into breakout rooms and to work on a given mission, okay, a question they have to deal with. And then they come back and they have to report on what they have to do. Okay, so it could be very different from one class to another. The only thing I'm sure is that you need short sequences, let's say 5 minutes. And yeah, and the last point, I mean, I mentioned it already, breakout rooms, which are wonderful. I mean, just a word about this. When you want to split a group of, let's say, 15 or 20 students into different small classes, it could be a nightmare. Because first you need to book those different classrooms, and then you need to ask students to move to the classroom, and then you need to be sure that students are coming back right on time, because they will come back. But if you tell them, okay, you have 5 minutes, I can tell you, most of the time they will come back 10 minutes after. When you have a breakout room on Zoom, I just have to click here, and when I click, everyone is back. So, you see, I mean, sometimes even remote teaching is stronger than what you can do in a classroom. Okay, next point. Do you think having the camera on during a Zoom session is needed and beneficial for learning, and does it affect students' attendance? Okay. All right, so let me tell you what I feel, what I think about not having the camera on. When you don't have the camera on, you don't know what people are doing. You don't know what the students are doing. You don't know if they are sleeping in their bed. You don't know if they are really with you. Okay? So that's clear. There is no question about this. There is an obvious answer. For me, that's clear. You need to put the camera on. I'm sure you prefer when you see me on the screen than when I hide the camera, because when I hide the camera, you miss something. Okay? So no question about this. Having the camera on is compulsory. You need it if you want to interact with your students. Are you motivated to teach online as you would be on campus? It's a difficult question. I mean, it's true that when you are in the classroom, it's easier, simply because I've been working in a classroom for a long time. So it's true that you do more, because you, as I mentioned it before, you interact immediately with the student. But once again, remember what I said previously. I think that remote teaching offers also new avenues for pedagogy. So I think it's a good news. It's a good news. To be honest, I mean, when this pandemic is going to disappear, I hope all professors will be now convinced that they have to go for hybrid. So hybrid means you are in the classroom, you teach in the classroom, you have a group of 10 students in the classroom, and remotely you have another group of, I don't know, 5 students. I mean, this is what they do in the US at Webster St. Louis. I mean, they use it very frequently. I mean, why? Because, I mean, the US is a big country. We have a lot of campuses, but many people, I mean, they don't want to commute, okay? They don't want to spend too much time driving, okay? So yes, hybrid would be for me the right model, okay? So you can combine, okay? When you can join us in the classroom, you come. When you are stuck on the other side of the lake, when you are traveling for business, when you are at the hotel, go for remote. Join me remotely, okay? Question number 6. Have you noticed a difference in student motivation? Yes, yes, that's true. But I mean, that's true also for us. I mean, the atmosphere, because of the pandemic, is bad. Okay, we suffer. We suffer not to be able to meet the family. We suffer not to be able to meet friends. We suffer not to be able to go outside for lunch, for dinner, for a drink, for cinema, for theaters. So this has an impact, okay? This is not a Webster issue. I mean, this is not a Dominique Joly issue. I mean, that's an issue for everyone. So yes, for sure, we are affected, we are impacted by this, and we have to make some efforts in order to be able to continue to do our mission, okay? I mean, to teach and to interact with you. So everyone has to make an effort. The professor has to make an effort, and the student has to make an effort. And your last question, what message you would like to say to all Western students about online learning? What I would like to say is that you are really lucky. You know why you are lucky? I'm not going to give any names, but you will see what I'm talking about. When you are in a big university, okay, when you attend your classes with 200 or 300 colleagues in a big amphitheater, that's already tough. But when you are in a big university with 200 and 300 or 300 students, watching a professor who is, by definition, in only one direction, okay? It's impossible with Zoom to interact with 200 people, okay? So you are lucky, and I'm happy that we have this situation. We are lucky because once again, with 15 small screens on my screen, I can see you. I can see you and I can interact with you. So I'm happy with this, and I hope that students, they are happy as well. So Renan, this is what I wanted to tell you with your questions. I hope I've not been too long, and see you soon.